Almost 2 years ago, RBC made waves in the Canadian credit card landscape with the introduction of the ION line, meant to take the fight to American Express's golden boy, the Amex Cobalt. Now, whether this card has really succeeded in taking the fight to American Express is a bit of a different story. But I've had the card since it came out, and I have plenty of thoughts from using it over the past 2 years. Hey guys, welcome to the CreditVerse channel. If you're new here, my name is ION, and today we're going to be diving deep on the RBC ION Plus. This card is one of my top picks, and I'll tell you guys why. Sticking to CreditVerse tradition, we're going to start with the bonus. Then we're going to talk about some of the earn rates on the card, some of the perks and features you get by holding it, and finally we're going to talk about how you can use your points. Be sure to also stick around until near the end, where we're going to talk about a really cool trick you can do to basically double the value of the points you get from this card. Just before we get started in the video though, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys behind the screen there. We just hit 8,000 subscribers in our past video, and we're so excited to see what the future looks like for the CreditVerse channel. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do that if you want more amazing content like this in the future. Lucky for us, RBC made it really easy to earn the bonus on this card. To get the entire 12,000 Avion point bonus, you just need to apply for the card, get approved, and you're going to get the bonus within 60 days delivered straight to your account. Now, how much these 12,000 points are worth is really more of an interesting question. Our estimates range anywhere from $85 to $120, but also be sure to stick around till the end, where we're going to talk about a way to double the bonus, as we just talked about a minute earlier. I think where we started to see the similarities between this card and the Amex Cobalt was when we looked into the earn rates. It earns 3 Avion points on a plethora of categories. You earn 3x on dining, grocery, and food delivery, as well as gas, transit, and EV charging. You also get that same 3x earn rate on digital gaming as well as subscriptions, and to top it all off, you earn 1 Avion point for every dollar spent elsewhere. Comparing this to the Cobalt, you're going to see it fall short in the grocery, dining, and food delivery category, with it only earning 3x compared to the Cobalt's class-leading 5x. The ION Plus does beat it in the transit and gas category, earning 3x compared to the Cobalt's 2x, as well as matches it in the subscriptions category with an even wider catch-all that includes digital gaming as well as subscriptions. Now, when we do adjust these numbers to the fact that the Cobalt's points are worth about 2 cents per point and the ION Plus's points are only worth about 1 cent per point, we do see a bit of a gap form here. Overall, I would say that they're still really strong. They're actually probably the best earn rates on any RBC card, but they're still just not as strong as the Cobalt, but honestly, I think that's okay. That's really the reason this card is called the Baby Cobalt instead of just being a direct Cobalt competitor. Now, jumping into the perks, it's unsurprising that we miss out on things like lounge access as well as hotel status on the ION Plus's benefits, just because RBC really knows what they're doing here. They really spent their time doing their research, and they realized that people who have this card don't really care for those kind of perks. They care for more daily perks that would align with, I guess, more of a lifestyle audience. You earn 3 cents per liter of Petro-Canada, as well as 20% more Petro points. You do also get 50 BWell points for every dollar spent at Rexall, but I think the two that really hit the spot for people in their 20s within this lifestyle audience are 3 months of free Dash Pass, which has saved me more than I'm willing to admit, as well as 2 years of mobile device insurance worth up to $1,000. RBC has kind of followed in Amex's footsteps with Avion offers, similar to the Amex offers you get, which basically just give you a bunch of coupons at different places. Now, a couple I found were really good were at MEC, for example, where I saved $20 or $30, as well as a couple of other ones on DoorDash and other things that would really fit this lifestyle audience. Overall, these perks are really solid, especially when you consider the $48 annual fee on this card, which is also rebated if you are a student or you hold one of RBC's mid to high tier banking packages. Now, for effectively a free card, this is probably the best card you can really get. Now onto our favorite section, what can you do with the point? RBC has purposely kneecapped what you can do with the Avion points earned on this card. This is really similar to what American Express had previously with the Cobalt card, where they had Membership Rewards Select and Membership Rewards Preferred. The MR Select earned on the Cobalt card could only be transferred out to hotel partners, where MR Preferred were able to be transferred out to both airlines as well as hotel partners. A couple of years ago, American Express did away with this, allowing the points earned on the Cobalt to be transferred to airlines as well as hotels now, which made it the best card in Canada. And RBC really hasn't done the same here yet. There are still a couple of things you can do with these points though. You can use them to purchase gift cards at a rate of 1,400 Avion points to $10. You can use 172 points to offset $1 of travel expenses, which honestly is a pretty bad earn rate, and we wouldn't really suggest doing that if you have this card. The best value really ends up being transferring your points out to WestJet at a rate of 100 Avion points for $1 WestJet dollar. This gets you 1 cent per point, which is really on the higher end, but we have a bit of an unconventional trick you can use to really double that value. What most people don't really end up knowing is the fact that you can take the points earned on the RBC ION and transfer them over to the RBC Avion card, and then use your Avion points in whatever way you'd like. One way of using your points at a much better rate is by using the RBC fixed travel grid. This is really good for domestic flights or transborder flights to the US. For example, we see some really good sweet spots from Toronto all the way to San Francisco, where you can get it for only 17,500 points. This gets you about 2 cents per point on average, which is pretty strong and is already 100% better than you'd be getting from just booking through WestJet if you transfer your points over that way. Alternatively, you can also transfer out to RBC's Avion Elite partners. This includes things like British Airways, where you can either book their own business class, or perhaps even book Qatar Airways' Q Suites, something we've talked about so much in the past. We think it's one of the best business classes in the world, and technically you can get it with the points from the RBC ION Plus. Now admittedly, there is a bit of a downside here. All the RBC ION cards come with a $120 annual fee. Now when you consider the fact that the 35,000 point bonus is worth about $750 on the low end, you do still end up netting out about $630, which is really strong just by booking economy class. If you choose to end up booking business class, of course they end up being worth much more, and those 35,000 points can be worth about $3,000, which of course makes the $120 annual fee just really not a problem at all. Before we wrap up, let's just talk a little bit about, does this card really compare to the Cobalt? To be perfectly honest, not really. It has weaker earn rates on most categories, and by itself it's actually not nearly as strong, as you can't really transfer the points out to all the other partners without having another card to match. It has less perks than the Amex Cobalt, as it has basically no travel insurance at all, which of course isn't really the point of a lifestyle card, but of course it's still really nice to have. Now a couple of places where it may be a bit stronger is the fact that it has a much lower annual fee of only $48, potentially even free if you have one of RBC's student banking packages or one of their other banking packages, versus Cobalt's annual fee is $155, and there's no real way of really negating that. Another benefit of this card compared to the Cobalt is also the fact that even though American Express's acceptance is increasing year over year, and I can probably count on one hand the number of places that don't take Amex, I can definitely count a lot of places where Visa is accepted. In fact, it's accepted pretty much everywhere except Costco. So if you use your card, for example, at Loblaws, getting a Visa card is much better than the Amex Cobalt because you won't be able to use it at all there. As a bit of a final verdict, I would say the ION Plus is a really good card for people who are just trying to dip their toes into the world of miles and points. It has little to no annual fee effectively, and you have really strong earn rates, which means you can earn a bunch of points, and when you're really ready to redeem them for a flight, you can just get one of the other cards, merge those 2 points together, and really have enough points for, a business class flight all the way to Asia, which would be worth, $3,000 or $4,000. Another thing is, especially if you have lower spend now compared to what you're going to have in the future, where you probably won't be able to hit the $750 minimum required to hit the Amex Cobalt's bonus, this card has no minimum requirement to hit the bonus, you get it all right away, and honestly, 12,000 points on this card versus 15,000 on the Cobalt, when you adjust for the fact that you're probably going to end up getting one of the other cards to match it, their bonuses are almost the exact same, and it's just a lot easier to just hit this bonus and call it a day. If you want to learn more about the Amex Cobalt, we did make a full video about it just last week, which we're going to link up here, so be sure to watch that one if you want to just get some more insight. With that, we're going to wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you want more content like this delivered straight to your sub box, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Take care.